Hi guys, my name is Steve Mack and welcome to LUX Chat episode 1111. This is because this is where the magic happens. We have our guest today, Rob. Rob, do you want to tell us about who you are and what you do?
So firstly, 1111 is
Yeah.
my favourite number. So that was interesting to start with that.
Not a bad intro, is
very
it?
nice, very nice. But yeah, I am a finance broker that dabbles a bit into coaching and mentoring young and new to industry brokers. I've been doing it for about a year now. Before that, was in the broking world for about 4 years, and back out on my own now.
I think more importantly too, like coaching, mentoring is the best way to learn and to obviously grow anyway. Let's sort of dig into that a little bit to begin with, because obviously we always get into the business. But coaching, mentoring, what does that look like for you? How do you identify somebody needs to be coached? Not everybody says, hey, put their hand up. I do see you at a lot of networking events as well. So how do you find your candidates?
Yeah, so that's the networking part's important. But I guess being a life banker for about 20 odd years, working in the grind with, the big institutions and coming out, you kind of burn out and you just want to get off the tools. So the shift for me was how can I give back to the industry? I still love the industry and love, working, in finance and with people and the networking, and how can I give back to that? I guess I shifted the business a little bit into more of the coaching and the mentoring, where I could see myself when I came into the industry as a young buck and just wanted to climb the ladder as quickly as I could, and how I can help these young guys coming into the industry get up there and hopefully pass on a bit of the knowledge that I picked up over the years.
Do you go into their businesses or do you sit with them over Zoom? Or
So the good thing, I guess COVID was an amazing teacher of a lot of things, where just I guess gave us that learning to be able to do anything from anywhere. We could be on our little work trips interstate or overseas and still be able to get on a screen and work with people. I do prefer being in person. Sitting down with people is always the best I've found. Yeah.
What are the key attributes that brokers really need to know about? There's one thing to have business relationships with the banks, but writing a deal, presenting a story, getting to know the client, where does that all begin?
I guess the important thing from a broker's perspective is, number one, it's not as hard as they think it is. I think often the space that we play in, and given my background being in commercial lending and finance, a lot of the brokers that I'm working with have always thought it was too hard. It's a space that it's scary for them, or where do I start type of thing. And I think the very, very first thing to sort of instill and teach them is it isn't hard. It's just learning the basics and having slightly different conversations with your clients and asking different questions. So it's just like that. I think that was the most important thing to kind of break down for these younger brokers.
The thing I want to touch on as well too, because you've been working by yourself for about a year now. It's a bit of a lonely road working for yourself. You can be surrounded by as many great people as you want, but effectively you're still sitting at home, you're doing the grind. I'm a big believer in environment. That's why I always suggest to people, look, just change your environment, get to somewhere that's I guess inclusive of you having the most amount of energy. But how do you overcome almost not that depression, but just that solitude? How do you keep
huge.
going?
That's actually a really, really massive part and I guess it's a huge, I wouldn't say issue, but it's a huge thing in the industry where you are flying solo a lot of the time. And it's hard to, if you don't have that self-motivation or really, really solid people around you, it gets really tough. There's always times where I guess you just don't want to get out of bed in the morning because you're like, it's the same thing over and over, and what's driving me to get myself out of bed today to tackle the world, and some days you just pull the doona over your head and like, let's start again tomorrow. Yeah, exactly right. So it's really, really important to have the right people around you, so that when you've got those days where, and we've been lucky to speak on a lot of occasions where it hasn't been all roses and where it's like you just get up and
it comes
get
down
going,
to
make a phone call today, just to get started. So
I think the key, and I did a speech on this the other day, is momentum. It's just building that thing. And I know we had a discussion as well, and I asked you one time where something went wrong, and you said I took my eyes off the goal, and I thought I was on easy street. But you've got to keep doing the work.
Absolutely. It's easy to get comfortable.
Yeah.
It's easy to get comfortable in our space. Things can always look great until they don't.
Yeah.
And that's the part you've got to, like you said, momentum's always the key. You can't take your eye off, because the minute you do and it stops, it absolutely stops.
So let's set some goals here and talk about that. So let's look into 2026, and we'll get onto some LUX things as well in a second. But I've got a feeling at the moment like you're really just starting to get going again. You're absolutely smashing it. The coaching, mentoring, you've got to leave something in the tank. And we know the why for you would be normally serving. You've got beautiful kids, family, that sort of stuff. But let's focus on what you're going to achieve in 2026, okay? So I want to hear, as a finance broker, a target, if I can, where that's going to be. I'd like to hear about some adventures you're going to take in terms of some awards nights you're going to attend to, that sort of stuff as well. And maybe what you're looking for in the ideal client and referrals in 2026.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
So I guess for me, 2026, this year's been, 2025's been an interesting one where it's been, it's been a really, really, I guess, positive start. And as we touched on, the minute you sort of get comfortable, you can fall behind pretty quickly. So I guess the main thing for me is to just keep the momentum. There's no rest.
Yeah.
There's no rest at all. And to achieve the goals that I want to sort of hit for the next year and the years ahead of that, is you can't take the foot off and you can't get comfortable.
Yeah.
It's not a 9-to-5 job, but it's also not a 24/7 job. So you've got to also find that balance. So, I mean, I've set myself targets and, they may be stretch targets, but, when you're looking to write roughly about $150 million a year, you need to have, you can't take.
It's a lot of money. So there's a lot of energy in there. And I think the key to that is,
it's a lot of conversation. It's a lot of time, and it's a lot of, making sure that you're out there and
it's $150 million deals, or it's a couple of big ones in there.
I mean, we're lucky enough. I'm lucky enough in the industry that I play in, where we get to work with developers and in the property space. So you get transactions that are sort of that 20 mil.
What
plus.
Are those? Yeah, what do they look like? So $20 million. What's that getting you?
Yeah, so luxury apartments in higher end suburbs in Victoria. The multi-million dollar commercial developments. So they're spaces that I enjoy playing in. I've kind of built a niche in working in that property space.
Well, it's just as easy to get $1 million deal as it is 20, and you just got to.
And it's the same work. More often than not, is it's not the dollar amount at the end of the day. It's knowing who you're working with and making sure that you're fitting the client in the right space as well.
And where would that be? So you've kind of written 150 million in 2026. I think you might get a holiday. I think the audience would agree.
That'd be nice. Yeah, that'll be great.
Where's that one luxury place you'd like to go?
So for me, the big goal for me for next year, which I haven't been able to do for the last couple of years, is actually get the kids and take them away. Take them on a nice, beautiful European trip.
Beautiful.
Overseas for a few weeks. That's the goal. That's the aim.
Perfect for winter.
Perfect for winter. Yeah, cold. Absolutely. Yeah. That's the aim. Yeah. I just want to just be in a position where, whilst the momentum's still going, being able to enjoy some downtime with kids and sort of taking time away from the grind.
So here's a bit of a fun one for you. So real estate agents, nothing against them, but they have an image. That's the nice watches, the cars, the suits, that sort of stuff. What a broker's drive. So what a,
So we stick with our Fords and our Hold. No, it's probably a similar stigma with brokers around the luxury items and the cars. And for me personally, I'm not a fancy car kind of guy. So just try and keep it as simple but nice as possible, which is it's a bit different, but there's a perception that we can make a bit of money and just blow it on.
If you were going to buy a luxury car, what would that be?
Interesting. I've got a picture of the G-Wagon sitting on the wall.
What colour?
It's a black one.
Oh yeah.
It's the matte black G-Wagon.
Yeah.
That's always going to be on the wall until it's in the garage.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
I'll give you a secret that I do for getting cars. I order the custom number plates first.
Okay.
So I would suggest order the number plates, put the number plates on the vision board, whatever it is. It could be funding formula, RoboVac, whatever it is. Put that on the board, and then all you're missing is the car.
Yeah.
It's the next thing as well. So, we've got the holiday for the kids. We've got the luxury car we talked about. And what about the luxury item? Is there an experience next year? So is it a super yacht, a helicopter? Is there something really cool that you do for yourself?
I guess I've been very lucky to be part of the Lux crew for a couple of years now. Yeah. So in terms of, I guess, the fun thing to the luxury fun thing to do, I've been able to do quite a few pretty fancy events through Lux, which I've absolutely loved, as you know. Yeah. I've pulled myself away a little bit lately because of work and being in the grind, but I know that over the next sort of 12 months, there's going to be one of those events, and whether it's the yacht or the private jet ride, or
we've got some drive days coming.
The drive days,
maybe
so that excites me. Yeah,
time to drive the G-Wagon.
Absolutely. Yeah. So whilst I haven't got that one thing in mind, I know it's going to happen because I know I'm lucky enough to be part of this amazing family that you get to do or experience things that you just don't do in your day to day, which is. Yeah, I love it.
It's been obviously a lot of fun. You and I always have a bit of banter and backwards and forwards, but for those doing it tough out there at the moment too, because look, I know we've got past post-COVID, we're in easy street for a while, and then we're doing the work again. You've talked about pulling the doona over your head. I'm a big believer in just pushing on and just getting through it, that sort of stuff as well. But what are those couple of key elements that you really need to hold on to as a business owner? Because we did talk about this with the previous guest, but what are some of those things that you fundamentally need to have right in your life, that discipline that helps you get out of bed and just push on?
I guess just speaking from me personally, it's two things. Number one, it's the family and the kids. So, being, I'm not going to say feeling sorry for yourself, but being in a space where you don't want to get yourself out of bed, just knowing that, there's something that you are working for, or people that you are working for are working to make sure that they're living a better life. But I think the other important thing that I found is not to hide. And we've had a lot of conversations about this. And
I'll find you.
Yeah, you know where I live. But it's easy to just hide away from it and try and escape it, when reality is you're just prolonging prolonging.
I'll add a third one on there as well. As I said, I'm more of a night owl myself. Don't typically set an alarm. The alarm goes off. Just like to rest, and I have a rule which is pretty well just don't contact me before 10 a.m. Because that's me time, and I'm a big believer in just balance. And that's effectively whether I'm heading to the gym or getting a coffee or I'm just having some time for me. But one thing, if I really am feeling like that, I put something in my calendar which is a non-negotiable appointment. So that's a face-to-face meeting that I have to be at, because it's easy to let yourself down. But if you're letting someone else down, I think that's maybe another element you would add in.
Absolutely.
But,
and that's a great
more for the viewers.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And another thing is just there's always going to be someone there that's ready to listen. So if you're having that patch, you can pick up the phone, and you're not going to be judged for it, because you're not the only person that's ever been there. You're not going to be the last person that's ever been there. So make, again, the circle that you've got around you, whether it's, it's a big circle or a small one, you know that they're always going to be there, and there's an understanding that, we're all, we're all in this together, and we're a family at the end of the day. So sometimes you just got to swallow your pride a little bit and pick up the phone and say, "Hey, mate, I'm not doing it great, or I'm struggling, or
I think you'd be
just need a
surprised
kick in the ass."
It's how many people actually feel identical, but we think we're alone. Well, we'll talk about the commercial lending. How's that one?
The commercial space, it's definitely a very, very active space at the moment. I've seen, and obviously through a lot of referral sources that I've been lucky enough again to pick up through LUX.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
It's actually really good.
Yeah.
All right. So our previous guest was talking about buying a commercial property. So the commercial property is worth, say, 1.6 million. There's a rental capacity there that goes on there, and he thinks it's overpriced. How do you work out the real value of a commercial property? It's something I don't personally play in that space, but and he's thinking it should be 1.1, 1.2. That could be just the buyer being, advantageous. He wants that. But how do you calculate?
So sort of a back of the envelope type of working is basically work back from the rental that you're receiving on the property and where ideally you want that yield to be. So, I mean, if you've got a specific rental amount, divide that by the percentage that you want to achieve in that rental, and that'll give you an idea of where that kind of sits in terms of the value of the property. So that's a very quick way to do it. And then working out the other side of it is whether you can borrow from the bank is we work back and work out sort of an interest coverage from that rental to see whether that.
And one more for you. As an investor myself, I like houses. You like commercial.
Yeah.
Why should I switch to commercial property over a $1 or $2 million house with a good return? The fear that I would have normally is, one, you don't get that interaction with the customer. It's a little bit more obviously commercial, longer leases, but you've only got to find one tenant that's got to do the fit out. And it seems a bit scary because you're really relying on this business succeeding.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely.
So what are the pros and cons?
The clients that I speak to, I get that question a lot, and I guess the number one thing is the stability and the length of lease is obviously something that, as an investor, you want to make sure that you've got a comfort over someone that's going to be in your property and paying your rent for a long period. Maintenance costs generally will be covered by your tenant, so there's a lower cost for you on sort of the day-to-day.
So no surprise outgoings.
Exactly right. Yeah. So that's covered. The other thing that I generally will just have conversations is the high returns on a commercial property, as opposed to. And that's not to say that the residential markets.
It's okay.
It's good to diverse.
Talk about anything on LUX Chats.
So it's the diversification of your investment portfolio.
And what about new versus used in, for example, commercial? So you've got a 10-year-old property versus a brand new. I still like new. You seem to typically have that satisfaction of being the first owner. You've got to find the tenant. But are you new or used?
Always new.
Always new.
Always new. You've also got your depreciation allowances there. So on a newer property, you've got a greater opportunity to claim depreciation.
What about finding a tenant? So should your real estate agent find you that, or should you go to an independent party?
Oh, that's a good question.
It's a great question.
That's a really good question. Yeah, no, I like it. I think so. What I've found over the last few years is some of these sites that you're purchasing from have got their own independent. They're a bit more private, and they're probably not wanting to sort of go out to agents because they don't want to pay fees and things like that, and have generally built a really solid network to find you a tenant as part of the transaction. So it's a bit of it's a much more pleasant transaction to deal with, sort of these private ones where you're going to buy something from them. You may not have purchased in a commercial estate before. They're actually sourcing you a tenant, so it's an easier process. Whereas, you might find something that's a little bit older, for example, and through an agent, there may not be a tenant in there, and then you've committed to this purchase, and then you've still got to find a tenant. And
you're dealing much with super funds?
Yeah, that's a big space. That's a huge space still at the moment. Investing in super funds, getting the right advice around that. So that's where it's important to be able to.
Might have a few referrals for you. I've got at the end of the day, sometimes we've got clients that need to find properties. It's very hard to deal with from that aspect. So sometimes it's the horse before the cart. Basically, you want to or the cart before the horse. You want to make sure you've got a solution for the SMSF. And a lot of people are moving into self-managed super funds because ideally sometimes the government's not doing the best job.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
But ideally there is some new taxes coming out as well. But they were initially put in super funds was really to take the sting out of the pension fund. But it's making it, some of the transactions are getting a little bit harder and the wealth creation, that's it. And I think the average age that you can retire now is like up to 67.
Yeah, it's...
So I think that's probably leaves us with our last question. So let's talk about wealth creation. How important is it to start now and really just get your head down?
So I mean, it's always easier. It's much easier to say, "Oh, we'll have a look at it tomorrow. Have a look at it next week," or we might need to wait till the next interest rate cut or anything like that. But I guess the important thing is, again, it's around advice, around working with the right people, making sure that you're, I guess, getting correct information and building that knowledge around how to, take those steps forward. There's always, it's always good to start today and have a goal and work towards that goal. And that's where, hopefully people like myself can assist my clients and set up that long-term plan around, how they're going to buy their first property to when they buy their fifth and sixth property and building that strategy with them to, hopefully get them retired before they're 67.
So you don't necessarily just get a broker with you get a mentor.
Absolutely.
And a friend, which is good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Last key message. So a motto, something you want to share with the audience. How do you want to sign off?
Well, it's never as bad as it seems. I think that's a really important one is one thing I've learned this year is you wake up and the sun comes up tomorrow and you go again.
Yeah,
you go
and
again, you just keep
even
going.
in 40 years, you'd trade all the money in your bank just to live this very moment again.
Absolutely, yeah.
Amazing. Mate, you've been an amazing guest.
Thanks, Steve.
Guys, thanks for watching LUX Chats. Thank you, Rob, for being an amazing guest here today. We'll see you guys next time and hopefully we'll see you on the podcast.